Shenron took a few breaths. Did they belong to a human, a guardian, or a deity? He didn't know at this precise time. And while the presence of Dragonballs filled him with joy, once the first bursts of adrenaline and dopamine were gone, new sensations and feelings started to appear. He remembered that in the eternal slumber, he could perceive the world in that distant, timeless and dispassionate manner where it didn't really matter so much. But now, this was the complete opposite. He took a few steps behind Mr. Popo, and suddenly he stumbled. But he wasn't sure if it was him falling or if the entire earth had flipped and collapsed into something else. He couldn't perceive that. Was he the world, or was he just on a world? He was the icy blue sky filled with wet, shaggy clouds.
Shenron, are you okay?
He was the bird in the sky, as they realized that they were him, and that the Shenron was each of them, and all of them.
Master, please talk to me.
He was the solid tip of the mountains, challenging the borders between the heavens and the earth. Mr. Popo then shook his arm. He was the breath of the gigantic lizard that was chasing smaller prey.
Oh no, you need to get back into your senses. You're getting...
He was also the prey's silent whimper as it attempted to flee.
Remember who you are. You cannot get lost.
He was in the fresh dew, blowing slowly on the surface of a tiny leaf.
You are Shenron, the new guardian of Earth.
He was the caterpillar eating the leaf.
Focus. You are losing yourself. You have to focus.
He was the dirt, and later the mud, under the wheels of a vehicle.
Yes, you can do that. You just have to.
He was under the sand under Yamcha's tower retreat.
Come on now, I know that you can do this.
He was the irregular heartbeat in Goku's chest as he was sweating in pain. He was also the pain and the Saiyan at the same time.
Almost.
He was a man who was currently resting next to a column and wearing a robe while his friend watched. He was Shenron.
What was that?
Shenron felt shocked by the intensity of the sensation. It was unlike anything he'd felt before. Was that how Kami perceived the world in its entirety? The genie, now relieved, scratched his chin.
I'm not exactly sure. I think that your link with the world kicked in, to be honest. But I don't remember any of the guardians I served before witnessing it with such intensity. Not the first try, at least.
Shenron tried to steady his breath.
Was it a bad thing or a good thing?
The genie smiled wildly.
Oh, I think it's mostly good. You seem to have a deep link with the world already. If I had to guess, maybe because, in a way, you are connected to this realm on a deeper level than any previous guardian has been. After all, I haven't served any dragon guardians before.
Shenron helped himself with his newly acquired staff. Yes, that would come in handy. No wonder that Kami was holding the damn thing all this time. It had its uses after all. And also, was the pain that the old man experiencing from time to time something that he would be feeling from now on?
You mentioned something about losing myself. Please, could you explain?
Mr. Popo nodded.
When you are so deeply linked with the world, it is easy to lose yourself. You may forget who you are from time to time, and that would not be a good thing. You still need to take care of your physical body, you know.
So if I'm not careful, I could just forget that I am me, and I won't be careful with that if I am.
Shenron was starting to have some second thoughts about this, but he didn't want to show his vulnerability to Mr. Popo. Not yet.
Don't worry, my friend. That's why I am here. To help you.
The genie smiled.
Yes. Someone to guard the guardian, I suppose.
The dragon allowed himself a bit of a dry laugh.
That wasn't the first lesson I would plan for you, but it was a lesson nonetheless.
Was that how Kami was able to sense danger in the world?
Shenron looked into the distance, trying to make sense of what he had felt.
Pretty much, yes. Although he usually focused on it. He knew what he was looking for.
Can you teach me how to do that?
Mr. Popo seemed worried for a brief second, like he himself was having concerns.
Oh, whoa, let's go easy there, Master. This might be a lot for you right now. We cannot hasten things that much.
In normal circumstances, no, but We might still be in danger. I want to find that new threat that Piccolo went after. Could you help me with that, my friend?
The genie looked around.
All right. Worst case scenario, we might just try having to smack you on the head, if you allow it. Just don't break the horns. I have no promises if I have to choose between a horn and saving your mind. All right. Now sit down and relax. Close your eyes as if you were meditating. You need no distractions.
The new guardian knew better than to ignore directions from this magical genie. So he did precisely as it was asked of him. Meditation itself was simple. He was an expert in it. On occasions, he thought to himself, and wondered if he outmatched Piccolo in that regard. He never slept during meditation, of course he didn't. He took a deep breath. Still here, still Shenron. Still the lookout.
All right, now I need you to envision Earth. What is the first thing that comes to your mind?
What would that be? Mount Palzu, home of his friends. Right now, Goku was abandoned, as he was transported to Kame House so Chi-Chi and Master Roshi could look after him. Okay.
Good, but don't get personal yet. Stand back a little bit. Get some distance.
He tried that, trying to limit his perspective to that of a mere bystander. It was hard to do so in a place he was so intimately familiar with people he cared the most about. He knew where they kept the dinnerware, it was that much, the order of books on Gohan's shelves, and how Goku stored his favorite gi.
Stop, too close and personal again.
Sorry, he uttered. He tried one more time. This time, he could see the house and the forest around it. Okay, he was making progress.
All right, that is better. Now, slowly move the angle.
It was like, just taking a walk, just with his mind. He knew these paths. Some of them were in his photo album. He had recorded them to memory. And this time, he scolded himself. No, less sentiment, more practicality. He noticed a dinosaur that had a successful hunt and felt that the creature might hope for a long and healthy life. The plant life could be in a better state though. One of the trees was displaying some sort of a sickness.
All right, good, but you are getting into too much detail again. Now, try to move a greater distance.
Okay, he focused on that, being almost overwhelmed with how fast his mind was whirring right now, how much it was moving, only to land in a bowl of lukewarm soup. Pilaf was complaining to Shu about the temperature, so these two, they were still around. All right, okay, time to move. The next journey took him to the laboratory of an old man, but it wasn't the enemy that was beheaded by his creations not so long ago. This was a different person. This one was a friend. Dr. Briefs was adding some contraptions to his telescope. He could actually see the way this man's mind was working, how the cogs were turning. This was interesting, seeing inside his mind, but no, he had to keep moving. Next he was, what town was it? He looked around to see a sign, and then he found it. Ginger Town, and there was frightfully little human life here. He saw clothes, just as something terrifying had ruptured all of these people and had left only their scraps as remains. Was it that person's doing? Did he accidentally cause this by becoming the Guardian? No! There was one fleeting sample of life left. He got closer to it, and then closer. Oh no. There were 2. No, 3. No, 4. No. 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 Just 2. Just 2. Piccolo was absolutely disgusted as he witnessed this green bug-like creature completely absorb some bumbling rotund man with his tail. The entity seemed mighty happy with itself.
Well, wasn't that something to witness, huh?
He spoke with an eerily cheerful tone.
What are you?
The Namekian seemed shocked, even despite his massive power advantage.
Oh, I am many things, metaphorically speaking, and very, Very figuratively.
Your aura seems odd.
Piccolo's eyes narrowed, trying to keep his cool.
Ah, right. I need to stop waving that around, don't I? Silly me! I may attract some attention by doing that, but to return to your first question, I am the future.
What kind of an answer is that?
Piccolo regained his composure and regaining his anger.
Well, my name is Cell, and we have a common grievance, you and I. A certain couple of teenage androids. I don't suppose you know where I could find them,
I think I've had just about enough of your games.
The Namekian decided that this was a good moment to attack when the beast was distracted. So, he decided to go and attack the beast. He dodged, not expecting so much power to come out of the strike. The Namekian did not stop his assault. Quite the opposite, actually. He wanted the creature to know that he messed with someone superior in strength to it. Fill it with fear. This was his new duty. And Piccolo decided that he was not going to botch this. Surprisingly though, this cell, as it called itself, held his hands in a familiar gesture, screaming an all too familiar phrase. As the Kamehameha launched toward him, Piccolo had to duck, just for the creature to strike at his arm with the barb at the end of his tail. The Namekian felt awful pain, as he felt that all the liquid within said arm was evaporating, and what remained was just dry, hanging skin.
I've got you now.
The cell seemed pleased with itself.
It seems that time's up, Piccolo. Your efforts have proven to be futile.
He could easily regenerate it, of course, but the Namekian realized that he might use this opportunity to learn something new, some intel that could help fight this thing.
Yeah, you're right. It's clear that I can't fight without my arm.
Cell chuckled.
Fear not. Soon you will become a part of something greater than you realize. A true perfection.
Before I submit to you, I ask you to honor my last wish and tell me, what are you? And why can I sense Goku's energy and mine inside of yours?
The monstrosity giggled with glee.
Oh, no one's asked me that before. I was going to tell you anyway, before you so rudely interrupt me with all of your prattling little fighting. Anyway, as I mentioned before, my name is Cell, and I am an android. In fact, I am the ultimate creation of Dr. Gero.
Piccolo tried to look weaker than he truly was. It was working. This thing had that weird need to be listened to. It was almost kind of sad in a way. Just this desperate desire to be acknowledged.
You don't look mechanical to me.
Well, you see, I was created with the means of using the cells of the greatest warriors that Earth had in store. And, of course, beyond.
Frieza, Vegeta, I can sense them inside of you as well.
Cell tilted his head.
That's right, smart boy. That's right. Now, there is a twist to all of this, you see. My creator figured out that he would never be able to finish me in his lifetime, no. So, he diverted his attention to less perfect solutions.
The other androids, but yet you're here. How does that work?
Oh, I think you know the answer to how I am here. You just don't know the why.
Piccolo blinked twice, trying to process what he was talking about.
You're another time traveler, aren't you?
Correct, Piccolo. You get a gold star. And what I am seeking in this timeline are two keys to my ultimate perfection. Androids 17 and 18, my siblings. Once I become one with them, I shall then achieve my perfect form.
Well, that's a great plan and all, but I think you overlooked just one small problem in all of that.
Cell seemed fascinated. He was intrigued at this little bit of defiance.
And that is?
With one swift move, Piccolo tore off what remained of his arm to make way for a new limb.
That there might be others who have already achieved that perfect form.
Cell looked impressed, but the thrill of the hunt was even greater. As he realized that the Namekian's life was far from over, they clashed in a deadly duel once again.
They almost got him. That's a good thing.
Shenron shook off the vision.
Who? Who got who?
Mr. Popo looked confused.
Piccolo, with the help of Krillin and Trunks. Sadly, he used the solar flare to blind him. I tried to follow him, but the way his aura works keeps redirecting me to the sum of his parts. I tried to focus on Frieza's bits, but it's not that simple. Not like typical key registration. He can mask his presence.
And yet you seem worried.
The genie tilted his head.
Yes, I do. Despite Piccolo being stronger, this thing may absorb more and more people over time and grow ever stronger. But that is not the worst thing out there.
Then what is?
Mr. Popo still hadn't understood.
You see, for a split second, I was able to connect with this entity. Everything was alien about it except one thing.
There was a moment of silence, dramatic silence, but Shenron continued.
I am part of his genetic makeup.
What would that mean for us?
I do not know, but perhaps this is why it is so hard for me to track him. Maybe I am getting some sort of distortion or feedback, preventing me from doing so.
Well, what are we going to do, Master?
Well, we cannot just simply wait for Goku. Call in Yamcha, Tenshinhan, Chaozu, and Krillin. We might need their help.
Mr. Popo nodded. Whatever Shenron was planning, he was very adamant about it. And even though the genie dearly missed Kami, he was really glad that his new master was being so active during this time of crisis. And that's where we're going to be leaving things for right now.